Hey guys, a friend stopped by last night with another load of TVs for me. Just what I need, I know, but he got a really good deal and he passed the savings on to me, so I am now the proud owner of an RCA console. All I know so far is it has a KCS 47A chassis and a metal picture tube, very probably a 16GP4. This is the set I really wanted. It's a Westinghouse H196. Kind of a stylish set. Glass looks to be in pretty good condition. And finally is a rather uncommon set. It's a Sonora. I think it's a model 302. Tough to find info out on these sets. Luckily, there's another collector who has one, and he's already supplied me with one photo, and more should be on the way. The biggest problem with all these sets is the knobs. They're pretty much all missing except for this little bag, and I think what's on here aren't right anyways. 99% certain these are RCA knobs, not Westinghouse. There's a little bag of some other knobs. I just looked at these briefly last night. So yeah, these are the RCA knobs. And here's just one of the inner knobs. These, though, from the pictures I've seen so far of the Sonora, I think these are Sonora knobs. And better yet, I think I might have something like this. Yep, I can tell they're for these because these are little dinky shafts. Should fit on there. Alright. Not in the greatest condition. I really just want to know what these look like because the annual ARCI, Antique Radio Club of Illinois, Swap Fest is coming up in a couple weeks. And I've had very good luck in the past finding knobs there. There are guys who just have boxes and boxes and boxes of knobs I spent a lot of time digging through. And yeah, that has the right contour, so I bet this is the fine-tuning. So it's not as bad as I feared. This must be... No, it's not a dual control. It's just a single on-off volume. So I need another one of these guys. And whatever goes inside there. Oh man. That's going to be a problem, though. The channel plate. This thing. I think it's got the numbers on it. It's too bad it wasn't printed on the back like these other labels are. That'll be impossible to find, but maybe with a decent photo I can reproduce something. Now, as far as the rest of the condition of the sets, they're rough, to be sure. Cabinets got some delamination or some wood missing entirely. No backs. Do not know the condition of the CRTs. Hopefully they're intact. Sonora's got a bit of warpage going on. Side seems to be bowed in a little bit, and the top is bowed down a little bit. And I think the speaker is missing as well. I think these were made on the West Coast. I'm not positive, and I think they were fairly low-end sets. But they are interesting. From what I've seen of the schematics so far. Rather unusual circuitry. For example, the high voltage is generated with a voltage doubler. Yeah, here we can see there are two 1V2 type tubes and a couple high voltage capacitors underneath the chassis. And the reason that's odd is that these CRTs don't take that much voltage, 10,000 volts. And generally doublers are only used when you need to get upwards of 15,000+ volts. So I'm not quite sure why they would have done that. Chassis looks almost like it's homemade. Should be interesting to work on for sure. And yeah, the speaker sure looks like it's gone unless it's floating around in the cabinet somewhere. It should be up there where the grill is. Sorry for the poor lighting, but stuck in the garage here. So there's that bright red metal CRT. Okay, now for the big challenge of the day. Where do I put these? Right now they've got my car boxed in, so they have to go ASAP. I figure the two tabletops I can bring inside. They're not that heavy. Put them on the back porch or into the attic. I want to take a closer look at them too, see exactly what the condition is. And the RCA, I'll try to find room out in the garage somewhere to stash it. I managed to get the Sonora cabinet and chassis up inside, as well as the Westinghouse cabinet. Lucky me, it happens to be about 100 degrees today, so I'm kind of dying out here. This is a little bit too heavy for me right now, so either I'll wait till I get some help or I recuperate a little bit to bring this up inside. But at least we can take a look at it while it's out here. It's quite a beast. It's a pretty early generation TV set, so it's loaded with tubes and transformers and whatnot. Never worked in a Westinghouse before, so I don't know a whole lot about them, but I believe they were fairly high quality sets. It's got one of those big old lead shields around that tube there to cut down on microphonics, I imagine. Don't know if the picture tube's any good, just that it's filthy. Here's a look at the underside. Looks to be pretty much all original and unmolested. It's always a good thing. Huge power transformer. That's why this thing's so heavy. Looks like this cap might have gotten clipped out at some point. Ooh, a lot of controls on the front. I think the biggest challenge in this set's going to be finding these knobs. Luckily, there's some really good photos online of exactly what they should look like. Once I manage to get this inside, I'll test the picture tube. It's 10 BP4, so even if it is bad, one of the more common ones out there. Hey, a bonus. I heard something rattling around inside, and down there by the flyback, I found what sure looks to be another knob for the Sonora set. Alright, it's a little bit cooler up in here. So, this is the Westinghouse cabinet. I was surprised at how light it was, considering how solid the chassis is. Here's the speaker, which I was afraid that was damaged because it was just hanging by one wood screw up underneath this grill up top. But no, it looks fine, just a little dirty. And this it's like a metal mesh. It's been painted in sort of a faux wood grain. And I guess that's to provide ventilation, and there's a cutout for the speaker. Otherwise, this cabinet looks to be in pretty solid shape. H196A. Westinghouse Electric Corp in Sunbury, Pennsylvania. So that's why these sets are kind of odd. This is a set from Pennsylvania, and Sonora, I'm thinking might be East Coast or possibly West Coast. The only guy I know who's got one is on the West Coast. But I don't think either of these was made in the Chicago area. Same goes for the RCA. See, I find all these Admirals and Motorola's and so on. Well, that's because those companies are based out of here, and I would imagine that has something to do with there being somewhat common around here, whereas, say, Dumont's seem to show up for sale fairly often in the New York, New Jersey area. Same with Stromberg Carlson and Andrea and so on, whereas they rarely show up around here. Alright, this is a cheap set. I don't know what the reputation was back in the day, but definitely fairly cheap, and this cabinet is so flimsy. Okay, I guess there used to be a bracing piece of wood on the other side. That would account for some of this bowing, so I can put a new piece of wood over here. That should straighten up that side. I'm not sure if there was one across the top though, but I could certainly add one, because this top has mushed down a little bit. And I could see some evidence there used to be a back. There's a few screw holes and screws around the perimeter. As for the chassis, I'll move the cabinet aside so we can take a better look at it. Okay, here's the Sonora chassis. I heard online it has kind of an odd tuner. Yeah, I can see that. It is continuous tuning, I believe. There's a little bit of a detent, but not much. It could also be that the detent bearing has developed a problem. Not sure what this yellow blob thing is up here. Just leave it alone for now. So let's take a look underneath. Okay. Yeah, that is an odd tuner. Big ass variable capacitor inside there. Oh, I see. This is like a gear reduction. Cool. Makes a nice addition to the collection. I have a Stromberg Carlson with continuous tuning that moves slugs in and out of coils, and I've got a Crosley, which is really a Dumont clone, that uses a Mallory Inducto tuner, which is also continuously variable inductors. And this seems to be continuously variable capacitor plates. Oh, and there's the filter caps. Well, yeah, I was a little leery of this with this cheesy power cord and so on. And this looks to be pretty darn modern too, which makes me wonder if somebody did try plugging it. Well, somebody must have tried plugging this in recently. This power cord feels like it's brand new. Somehow, I don't think the set worked. I hope they didn't do any damage. Wow, that is one weird looking flyback. Some weird looking caps. So there's the voltage doubler. Oh, I'll grab a flashlight. Get a little better lighting down in there. Alright, hope that helps out a little. So there's the two 1V2 rectifiers. And these must be high voltage caps, although they don't look very thick to me, so. Well, then again, like I was saying, this tube runs on something like 9 or 10,000 volts, so I guess those caps would only need to be maybe 5 or 6,000 volt caps. And that is an odd looking flyback. Dual filament windings, one for each rectifier tube. Oh, do I hope that's still good. That's not the kind of thing you're going to find on eBay every day. As for the rest, just like the Westinghouse, looks to be fairly unmolested. Okay, that might, well, no, that could be original too, since they mounted these back here like so. That could be original. Same kind of wiring used in the rest of the set too. So let's see, what was that goofy yellow thing on the other side? It was right about in here. You know, I think that might just be some crap that got stuck inside, like some piece of tape or something. I don't see that there's anything actually going to it on the back side. Yeah. Oh, I see. Apparently it was 3 milliliters of some type of Asian seasoning sauce. Alright. Don't think that's necessary for the set to function correctly. Now luckily I did find service info for this, but it did take me a little while. I'll pull that out and give you a quick look-see. The Early TV Foundation website has the SAMS photo fact for this set, which consists of the schematic and nothing else. I found this service info in Riders Volume 5, and it has 4 pages. Still not much, but I think it'll be enough for me to go on. So apparently I have the 302, which is the table model, and then there's a 303 console cabinet. And general overview: 19 tubes, 12 LP4 picture tube, and so on. Most importantly, they do explain how to make all the adjustments and the tuner. And they explain how to make adjustments and so on. So I imagine will come in very handy. I have all the alignment info as well, and the tube layout. And actually have a few scope signals and a parts list. Seems like it can't be complete, but I guess it must be. See if we can find those high voltage caps on here somewhere. Must be these guys. 500 picofarad, 5,000 volts. I think they're ceramic. Oh yeah, well, it says right there, ceramic. So those should be fairly easy to replace if needed at all. And finally, here is the schematic. And there goes my cell phone. Okay, where was I? Let's see, here's the tuner. And here, let's see these ganged variable capacitors. And then it goes into a fairly conventional IF strip. Video detector. 12AU7 for video amp. Sounds a little bit odd though. 6AU6 is unusual, but this stuff is. Got part of a 6T8 over here, and that drives a part of it uses an audio amp. Usually I see 6AL5s use the ratio detector. And they also use a 6T8 here for a horizontal phase detector. Also don't think I've encountered a 6AU5 for a horizontal output tube. And there's the doubler. And picture tube. So, for sure, looks like an interesting set to work on. Oh. Okay, first up I'm going to test the 12LP4 in the Sonora. Already got everything hooked up with my Sencor, so let's fill one first. 6.3. That's a good sign. Looks like this is a new video, 12LP4A. It's probably a replacement. The filament hasn't burned out yet, so imagine it's not a gassy tube. Let's go through the usual shorts. Ooh. Looks like we got a G1 short. Uh-oh. Tapping the tube a little bit. I just pull the G1 lead off the CRT. So it sure looks like there's a grid 1 short. But before we carry it away, let's see if any of this stuff works. Probably cutoff's not going to work. Well, I do have some emissions readings though. So I have to look on the schematic, but assuming that that grid is used to modulate the intensity with the video signal, then this wouldn't work too well. If, however, it's held at a fixed bias, or like for the brightness control, and they modulate the cathode, might not be as big a deal. But I will certainly try to clear it out regardless, because there is a removed G1 short. A little leery of doing anything though, because that was interesting. Shut up for a moment and came down. A little leery of doing anything because 12 LP4s are not easy to come by. Yeah, if I go from cutoff to G1 short, it kind of goes good and then bad. I'm gonna let this cook for a while. Maybe tap on the neck a little bit more. See if that short clears itself out. CRT has great emissions and a great life test. So I really hate having to do this, but this G1 short doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon, so I'll have to give it a try. So the idea is you put on remove G1 short, push this button, retest. What that'll do is it'll apply a controlled voltage pulse to the set and hopefully clear out the short. Alright, I saw a flash of light in the neck of the CRT. My heart kind of drops when I do this, because when you're in remove G1 short, it cuts the filament juice off, so when you go back to emission it's down at 0, but it did come back up, as did our short. Oh man. Well, I'll let this just sit for a little while again, and then I guess I'll try to remove G1 short again. I'm going to try the G1 short removal again. You should see a flash of light inside the neck. I'm not sure if the camera caught that or not. Emissions are coming back up. And we still have a short. Well, the CR70 is still showing a G1 short. However, I don't see a flash anymore when I hit the clear G1 short button, so I'm not quite sure what's going on. I still have excellent emissions though, and I looked on the schematic, and this does use G1 to modulate the intensity with the video signal. I also pulled out an ohm meter and hooked up one lead to G1 and tried checking the resistance to all the other pins, and they're all infinite. So it's possible that the short doesn't show itself unless the tube is heated up, or you need a few hundred volts to actually get some current to conduct. So for now, I am just going to leave it alone, and I'm going to move on to testing the Raytheon. I just managed to lug this chassis up inside on my own. This should be a 10 BP4, and I'll just flip-flop the two chassis, hook up the CR70, and let's hope this one tests a little better. Okay, it's hooked up. Let's fire this guy up. Get it on 6.3. This thing is filthy, so I can't really see it glow. It's not a good sign. Let's see what the meter has to say. Oh, great. This one has an HK short, and those are impossible to clear. But no G1 short. And with an HK short, I think you also cannot check for emissions. Well, it's just not my day, I guess. Still can't really see it glowing though. I'm going to try cleaning this neck up and make sure that it is actually glowing inside there. I removed the dual ion trap magnet and turned down the lighting, and I think now we can definitely see the filament glowing. So I'll just let this heat up for a while, tap on the neck a little bit, and try testing it again. Well now, things are actually looking up. I'll let this sit for about 5 minutes or so, and the HK short seems to have cleared itself up. And no G1 short. So now we just need to check the all-important emissions. And how about that? I just glossed over the cutoff. This, I don't know, as I've said before, you're supposed to select the right bias range for the CRT type based on this chart and then rotate this control to get the line in the black box. Quite often I have to drop this down to 36 to get the cutoff inside that block box. Like, look how much more responsive this control is now on the 36 range. And I've heard others say the same thing. Basically, if you can pick some bias range and get the needle to move when you rotate this control, it should be usable in your set. So now back to the emissions. That's pretty darn good considering this has only been running 5 minutes or so. And how about a life test? Well, it's a respectable life test for an old 10 BP4. This may very well be the original picture tube from the set too. Alright, so I'm in a better mood now. So that just leaves one more. It's out in the garage, a 16 GP4. I will save that. It's the next day and I didn't get a chance to upload the video on the Raytheon and Sonora, so I'll include the RCA as well. Here's the chassis. It's a KCS47A. I talked about this chassis briefly in a video I think last year because I found one of these at an estate sale. Not a whole set, just the chassis. So I have plenty of spare parts. Looks to be in decent condition, just like the other two sets. Just underneath. Okay, it's had some work done. So there's a new cap up in here. But otherwise, looks alright. Now, as for the CRT, here it is. It's got to be a 16 GP4. It's a metal bell and it's the right shape. So I'll hook up my CR70 and have to be very careful because the base on this is loose. Okay, here goes. Yes, we have filament glow. Excellent. No shorts. No shorts. Ooh. Wow. Very responsive cutoff. Nice. I've never seen it so far over to the right. At first I thought there was something wrong with the CRT. Hey, alright. And the rock solid life test, and the needle's not even moving. And I just powered the CRT up a few seconds ago. Yeah, it's a lot better than that gassy one I encountered a couple months ago. So we've got one CRT that tested great right out of the box, another one that had an HK short that miraculously seemed to disappear on its own, And this one still has a G1 short, but I'm not giving up on it yet. Hope you guys enjoyed this look at an RCA, a Sonora, and a Westinghouse.